Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost crossing over to the new year, and we want to thank God in a very special way because He has walked with us, guided us and protected us throughout this year, and you can confess in your own very way that indeed the Lord has been good to you. As members of this family, allow me to thank you once again for your unwavering support throughout the year. You have been with me by my side. You have supported channel. You have criticized. You have shared views. I mean, it's been very amazing, and I want to say thank you very much. As we begin a new year, allow me to take this opportunity on my own behalf and that of the family to wish you a very prosperous new year full of God's wisdom and God's guidance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, recently the IMF and World Bank released an economic report, and it was divided into segments. There were countries, upcoming countries that were growing, and the IMF had projected that they would have a better GDP in the year 2024. Kenya was left out, and I remember it in the latest statistics. Tanzania and Rwanda had leapfrogged Kenya in their position in terms of economic power in the East African community countries. This did not go down well with the government of Kenya because they have always told us that they are on the right track. They have put mechanisms to ensure that our economy gets back on track. So one of the Kenya Kwanza controversial cabinet secretaries, Moses Kuria, went on his Twitter and posted this figure that you see here. That this is the GDP growth in the year 2023. Countries that had grown, ranking from number 1 up to I think number 10. And indicated there that it was India, Kenya, China, Mexico, Brazil, Nigeria, Spain, Russia, USA, Japan, Canada, France, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Italy, UK and Germany. When he posted this, Kenyans have got an eye of an hawk because they scrutinized and immediately they realized that this was an edited list because the original list does not contain the name of Kenya there. Kenya is not among them. So some few people, there were very many, but I've sampled two. I think the first two people. Someone was there and asked, where is the GDP in people's pockets? Because whenever there is an increment or growth in the GDP, then at least we should see the signs and symptoms. And the other person there, this guy called Brian Mwengi, said, Mwenga, really, Moses, did you have to Photoshop that to prove a useless point? Sad situation we are in as a country if a CS can be this petty. And if you want to know why Brian Mwenga is saying that we are petty, then they'll give you the original list. The list there is India, China, Mexico, just the same list as we had, but now they have inserted the name of Kenya. Because that is a bit faint, we made this late so that you can look at them and juxtapose. The original list is the one on my right. The India, China, Mexico, Brazil, Nigeria, Spain, Russia, US, all that. Because I had given you the original list. So now, what they have done is that they have inserted the name of Kenya between India and China, so that Kenya is number 2. And the original source, that was the the IMF, and you can go and check for yourself because we need to state facts so that we don't also propagate a lot of propaganda in the channel. It is called World of Statistics. You just go and check because they gave this order here. And very many people looked at this and we wondered, how low can we condescend? So much that we even give very fake statistics to our citizens.
In an open economy with market determination of prices, exchange rate movements are the most important indicator of underlying macroeconomic fundamentals. As the saying goes, when in doubt, observe the exchange rate. The lesson from history for governments is that you cannot manage the economy with propaganda. In fact, you can engage in all the propaganda you want, but if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
It tells you the kind of government that we are dealing with. You know, many a times when we criticize the government, some people think that we have something personal against the government. We don't have any personal vendetta. I have always said that when William Ruto fails, the whole country fails. And when he succeeds, the whole country succeeds. Today, if William Ruto fails and you know the cost of education is high, we are about to take our children to school, everyone will suffer. And that's why I want to opine that we always want Ruto to succeed. It is only that he himself, together with the entire Kenya Kwanza, does not want to succeed. Because how do we feed Kenyans with propaganda? Because it seems we are dealing with a government that thinks that Kenyans are so much ignorant that we cannot discern propaganda from truth. You know, there are economic journals around us that we can always check. And when these things are shared, they're in the public domain. People go there, we always check IMF reports. And so when you see a whole government minister editing an original report from the IMF and they want to give us such propaganda, they feel that we are fools. And you know, you cannot run economy on propaganda. The numbers will always fail you. You know, this is a government that obviously has been overwhelmed. They cannot run an economy. Because if they were serious about running this economy, they would ignore. You see, facts are facts. They would ignore the fact that Kenya is not included among the fast growing economies in the year 2023. They have always, you know, channeled this propaganda and perpetuated it that they took over a very poor economy from Uhuru Kenyatta. They would have remained with that so that they tell people that the reason why we are not there is because of the dilapidated economy that we inherited. And then they would promise us always, because they are good at promising, they would have promised us that maybe next year something will be done. But to come and insert Kenyan's name where it does not belong, and Kenyans are watching, ni madharau kwanza, because wanatuona ufala. When they look at us, they feel that we are so imbecile that we cannot even understand what is happening. And let me tell you, you can never run a government and economy on propaganda. What do you think can stop these people from changing election results? Because it seems this is the mentality that the Kenya Kwanza has. That when, or if you can change a figure to suit you, then you don't hesitate. You simply edit and serve it to the people. And without blinking, you defend that position. I have always known that it is Dennis Itumbi that is full of propaganda, because politics and propaganda are inseparable. Over time immemorial, propaganda has been used. But when it touches to our economy, then you know that we don't have a country. There are very sensitive aspects of governance that you cannot lead by propaganda. Economy, security, and education. Those are very vital, you know, areas that you cannot run by propaganda. Otherwise, you are running our country down. And that's why I believe that watu wangeiba hata kura. I believe your kura ilibia. Because what kind of mentality is this? because they don't care. You see what they do, they just want to have their moment. Wale watajua wajue, wale watakosa kugundua wakose. After all, they have that mentality. Watadu, what will they do after all? Because that is what they have. Even if they detect that we are lying to them, what will they do? Because they know they are leaders and they have everything. The other day, they sponsored some, who they call slum dwellers, to go and demonstrate in the CBD that they wanted housing levy. And most of those people are not working, so they don't pay housing levy. A government that has gone so low that they can sponsor people to demonstrate. They have gone so low that they can edit original economic reports to suit them. Do we have a country? Because when we say this, people think that we don't want William Ruto. I mean, what do you say, especially if you're a Kenya Kwanza apologist, you support this government? What do you say about this? Why must you? Do you know, as a leader, sometimes you simply ignore. There is no harm. We have got, how many countries do we have in the world? Not all of them featured in that list. And Kenya is so much obsessed about PR that we must appear in every list. This is not how things are done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have sunk so low as a nation, and I want to say that there are signs and symptoms. You see, investor confidence is not there. It's still very low. And investors are running away from Kenya. And so you cannot tell us that in the year 2023, we had a growth in GDP. The rate of inflation was so high. I think the highest in the history of Kenya since independence. And then our shillings kept on weakening against the dollar. These are not rocket science. I'm not an economist, but these are things that we can see. I think we need to call out this government to be serious about governance, because at this rate where we lead by propaganda, this will lead us nowhere. Wameshindwa